the little girl's words landed like a quiet explosion in the middle of a bright afternoon. In a city that never seemed to slow down, under a clear blue sky filled with noise and motion, she stood clutching a worn backpack and said she had no cake on her birthday. No anger, no tears at first, just a small, tired truth spoken as if she had already accepted it. Around her, people kept walking, sunlight glinting off glass buildings and polished cars, unaware that a single sentence had just cracked something open. What happened next would ripple far beyond that sidewalk, leaving witnesses stunned and hearts forever changed. Before the story continues, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Single Dad Diaries if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of one small act to change a life. The young billionaire, Arjun Vale, had not planned to stop that day. He was known for arriving early everywhere, moving with purpose, his mind always 5 steps ahead. At 28, he had built a technology empire that promised efficiency and progress, yet his own life felt strangely hollow. That afternoon, the city was bathed in daylight, shop windows glowing, vendors calling out, children laughing somewhere in the distance. Arjun was crossing the plaza outside a modest community center when he noticed the girl sitting on the low concrete ledge near the entrance. She was small for her age, maybe 7 or 8, with hair unevenly tied back and shoes that had seen too many seasons. What caught his attention was not her appearance, but the way she watched others pass by, her eyes following families carrying boxes tied with ribbons. The girl's name was Mira Solis, though no one there knew it yet. She had spent the morning helping her mother clean offices downtown, waiting patiently while adults worked around her. It was her birthday, but the day looked exactly like every other day. There was no party waiting at home, no colorful box, no candle to make a wish on. When she finally whispered that she had no cake on her birthday, it was not a complaint. It was an observation shaped by years of learning not to expect too much. Her greatest challenge was not hunger alone, but the quiet realization that celebrations were luxuries meant for other children. Arjun stopped because something in her voice reminded him of himself, years ago, before wealth and headlines, when his own birthdays had passed unnoticed while his father worked double shifts. He remembered daylight birthdays spent doing homework alone, pretending it did not matter. In that moment, the distance between billionaire and child collapsed. Yet stopping was only the beginning. Arjun struggled internally, torn between the instinct to help and the fear of doing it wrong, of being seen as performative or intrusive. He had donated millions before, but this felt different. This was immediate, human, unplanned. The city continued moving around them as Arjun crouched down to her level, listening more than speaking. He learned that Mira lived with her mother, Sophia, in a single rented room not far from there. Sophia worked whenever she could, often bringing Mira along because childcare was impossible to afford. Birthdays were acknowledged with hugs and promises of someday. Mira did not resent her mother, she adored her. But even adoration could not fill the empty space where a simple cake should have been. Arjun stood up with a decision forming that felt heavier than any business deal he had ever signed. He did not call an assistant or make a grand announcement. Instead, he walked with Mira and her mother into the nearby streets, sunlight following them like a witness. They entered a small local bakery, the kind with foggy windows and handwritten price tags. The smell of fresh bread and sugar filled the air. Mira's eyes widened, her challenge now becoming belief, daring to hope and bracing for disappointment at the same time. What happened inside that bakery was quiet but seismic. Arjun ordered a cake, not the biggest, not the most expensive, but one chosen carefully, with Mira's favorite colors and her name written neatly on top. He bought pastries for everyone in the shop who happened to be there, turning an ordinary afternoon into a shared moment. The baker, recognizing Arjun only after the fact, watched with disbelief as the girl held the box as if it might disappear, yet the story did not end with sugar and frosting. Outside, in the bright afternoon light, Arjun learned more about Sophia's struggle, the unstable hours, the fear of illness, the constant math of bills versus food. Mira's biggest obstacle was not one missed birthday, but a future shaped by scarcity. Arjun realized that giving a cake without changing anything else would be a beautiful memory, but not a turning point. Over the following days, still in daylight meetings and open offices, Arjun set changes in motion. He arranged for stable work for Sophia through one of his company's partner programs, with hours that allowed Mira to attend school regularly. He ensured access to healthcare and enrolled Mira in an after-school arts program she had always stared at from across the street but never entered. None of it was announced publicly. There were no cameras, no press releases. Just quiet decisions made with intention. For Mira, the change was gradual but profound. The cake became a symbol, not just of a birthday, but of being seen. She started walking taller, laughing louder, drawing pictures filled with color instead of gray. Daylight felt warmer. The world no longer seemed like something happening without her in it. Sophia, too, carried a new kind of strength, no longer crushed by the constant fear of falling behind. For Arjun, the transformation was internal. He returned to his glass offices each morning with a different sense of purpose. The city looked less like a machine and more like a collection of stories intersecting in daylight moments that mattered. He realized that wealth had meaning only when it shortened the distance between people. As this story nears its end, take a moment, if this journey touched your heart, to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement helps stories like this reach more people who still believe in compassion. And before the final words, here is a special request. Please comment below with one small act of kindness you promised to do this week, no matter how simple it seems. On a sunny afternoon exactly 1 year later, Mira stood in that same plaza, holding another cake. This time, it was surrounded by friends, her mother smiling without exhaustion, the city alive and welcoming. Arjun watched from a distance, not wanting to intrude, knowing the true miracle was not that a billionaire had stepped in, but that a child had learned her life was worth celebrating. In a world rushing forward under endless daylight, one sentence had stopped everything, and kindness had done the rest.